Joining us, defense attorney Jeffrey Feiger and psychiatrist Dr. Gerald Shiner. Joining us today from Paris. Jeffrey, we're going to start with you.
All right.
You were involved in a similar case, the conviction of Nathaniel Abraham. At the time, you called his conviction incomprehensible in a civilized society, and you're not happy about these charges today either.
No. At that time, Nathaniel was the youngest person ever charged as an adult in the United States for an adult crime. This is equally as reprehensible. Really, the test of an enlightened society is how you treat your most vulnerable citizens, children, elderly, the sick, and that does not reflect well upon this society to act in the manner that we're acting towards children.
Dr. Shiner, we heard you say earlier in Jim Kurtzner's piece that you also don't agree with charging a child this young, that their brain is different. What is the danger in a charge like this in your mind for a child this age?
I think it endorses the practice that we have of putting people in jail or prosecuting them criminally when we're just mad at them for not behaving well. This is a child who doesn't know better. When I worked with Jeff Feiger on the Nathaniel Abraham case, we presented to the jury that an 11-year-old's brain was immature and really couldn't grasp the consequences of actions. And we're just doing this because we're angry. We're doing this because someone got hurt and someone has to pay, and that's just wrong. As Jeffrey said, our most vulnerable members, children, people who have no one else to take care of them or no one else to look out for them, are going to pay the price, and that's just wrong.
Jeffrey, Prosecutor Kim Worthy yesterday said in a statement that she cannot remember a time where we have charged someone so young with taking a life, as we've all agreed here. But unfortunately, she says, and very tragically, the alleged facts in this case demanded it. Does she know something we don't know about how this went down?
No, she doesn't. And she's wrong, because I do remember a time not so long ago when we charged Nathaniel Abraham. It is because she can also. We have a law here in Michigan, a very regressive, benighted, if you will, law that allows prosecutors to charge any person, no matter how young they are, 11, 10, 3, as an adult if they so choose. Prosecutors have great discretion. I respect Prosecutor Worthy. However, I do not agree with her decision to charge any 11-year-old as an adult. They cannot comprehend. And adults who think that 11-year-olds know or understand adult emotions are wrong, and we shouldn't be doing it in Michigan. And the rest of the world looks at us and frankly shakes their head and said, what's wrong with those people?
Jeff, clear something up for us, though, because I don't believe he's being charged as an adult. He's being charged in this case with manslaughter, but will be treated in the juvenile system, right?
Wrong. No, you need to understand that. He is being charged with an adult crime. Prosecutor Worthy hopes that if there's a conviction, then she can ask the judge to give what's called a blended sentence, which allows the judge discretion to decide whether the child should be kept in a juvenile facility until 19 or 21, and then possibly sent to an adult prison. In other words, imprison a child perhaps for 15, 20, 50 years under the laws. So let me make it very clear. This is not a juvenile proceeding. This is an adult proceeding that is taking place before a juvenile judge. That's what's going on here.
Thank you for clearing it up.
Dr. Shiner, back to you. Now, some people are arguing that an 11-year-old should know the difference between right and wrong. I've had kids that were 11, and my kids clearly knew at age 11 that you do not aim a gun at somebody and pull the trigger, because the results will be exactly what we saw here. How can you argue that an 11-year-old just doesn't know the difference?
Well, they may know if they've been taught, and they may be able to repeat that, but they can't really neurologically appreciate consequences of their actions, especially unintended consequences. Nathaniel Abraham said something like, well, I know you shouldn't shoot a gun because someone could get hurt, but I wasn't shooting at anyone. And, you know, that really reflects a concreteness and a different mode of thinking than we see in adults. We know that their brains are biologically different. They're not developed. They don't have the cell structure. They don't have the connections that adults do. And even though they can act like adults and they can say what we tell them to say in terms of knowing it and controlling themselves, they just can't do it. This child needs help. This child can be changed if there's something wrong, because we've caught it early enough, and we can do something besides punish him. We can do something besides throw him into the criminal justice system like a criminal.
What is that something to you, Dr. Shiner? What is it? Mandatory counseling? What would that involve?
It would go anywhere from counseling to try to help him overcome that problem, counseling the family to see where things went wrong and why he wasn't in school, if he wasn't in school, why he wasn't involved in the community. It may involve placement. So there's a whole gamut of things that you can do in mental health. The sad thing is that we've dismantled the state mental health system, so it may not be available unless it's under extraordinary circumstances. But we do have the Hawthorne Center that can provide outpatient counseling for this child, family counseling, and if necessary, residential care in a treatment facility, not in a youth home where he's going to be thrown in with a bunch of older kids who are there for being bad kids, who are going to teach him all kinds of tricks and all kinds of bad habits that won't solve anything and won't help society and won't help this child.
Children are not little adults. You didn't put an 11-year-old child in a boxing ring with an adult simply because they can hold their hands up and can wear boxing gloves. And we don't, the idea of punishing 11-year-olds is so benighted, is so absurd. Only the cruelest people think that.
All right, Jeffrey Feiger, we do thank you for your time. Dr. Shiner, thank you for joining us from Paris this evening and taking the time out for us. By the way,